AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and again, the Centers for Control with more mask propaganda in addition to vax mandate propaganda. Rochelle Walensky's updated mask message is
it's disgusting.
Remarkable, just remarkable. The stones it takes to say what she said.
The evidence is clear. Masks can help prevent the spread of COVID-19 by reducing your chance of infection by more than 80%. Whether it's an infection from the flu, from the coronavirus, or even just the common cold. In combination with other steps like getting your vaccination, hand washing, and keeping physical distance, wearing your mask is an important step you can take to keep us all healthy.
Get vaccine facts. We can do this.
That 80% figure is from I assume this is what she's referencing. Of course, they never show their work. They don't have to. She's referencing modeling that was done at Berkeley and Hong Kong University from May of 2020. Mm-hmm. All of the actual real-world studies that have been done, there have been enough, but we know, and we've talked about these ad nauseum with actual, well, I guess she's a medical doctor too, but I mean with epidemiologists and professional immunologists, virologists, like the Martin Kulldorffs of the world. I mean, we know that that is not remotely close to true.
Yeah, and they also say too, if you're vaccinated, you can't get COVID or spread it. Yeah, come on. It's all a bunch of lies. And
so this is why, these races on Tuesday were so interesting because, again, in New Jersey, I think it was a little bit more, it was included CRT, but it was a little bit more about COVID than it was in Virginia. And Edward Durr, the commercial truck driver who unseated the Senate president, got all the fanfare, and he deserved it. But there was another interesting development, another worthy model to take note of. Nicholas Seppi is joining the school board that prematurely ended his senior year. 19-year-old wins New Jersey school board race running against COVID mandates, including masks, in Egg Harbor Township. Egg Harbor Township Board of Education. He's now, I think, a sophomore at Stockton University nearby.
Brilliant.
And so he's going to be splitting his time. But this is his second run. So he won the first time, ran the first time, lost. Won the second time, defeated an incumbent by nearly a 3-2 ratio, and is going to be on the school board there in Egg Harbor Township.
Oh, good for her. That just gave me the chills. That is such great news because that's, those are the people that were affected most by these draconian measures. And also Randy Weingarten, the president of the teachers union, nationwide. America's
the AFT.
AFT, yes. Yeah. She was in Puerto Rico, don't you know, at a conference, and she's there, and other people are there, no masks on. Yet
Chuck
our kids,
Schumer was there.
Yeah, yet our kids are forced to wear masks. And somebody called her out on Twitter, and she wrote, "You can't be at this Somos hotel or panel without proof of vaccination. I had just also done a rapid COVID test and was negative. Frankly, I think you're right. If kids are wearing masks in schools to protect themselves and others, educators must wear them inside as well. I'm sorry." And then the whole world fought back at her. Then she tweets, she doubles down. "Well, I wear a mask most of the time indoors. We took them off as people were having a hard time hearing us." What does she think it's like every day for millions of teachers and millions of students every day? I don't speak mask. I tell people that. And there's been a lot of things misconstrued when I'm at the schools and someone's talking and I'm talking because of these stupid masks.
Well, there you go. You have your explanation for why you're not wearing a mask in school now. So tell your kids and make sure they cite AFT President Randy Weingarten. I have the same problem she does. When I speak with my mask on, people can't hear me, so I'm doing the same thing that she did. I'm taking my mask off. I'm just following your Mr. Smith or Mrs. Smith, your union president. I'm just following her lead. Perfect.
And then she triples down. By the way, I don't like masks either. It was a big, large room, kind of like gyms, and the audio system was bad.
Yeah, okay, well, whatever. You've got your excuse,
Right.
so use it.
Okay.
For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Chadwick Moore, Spectator columnist, contributing editor as well. Chadwick, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning. Glad to be here.
Now, in your neck of the woods there in New York City, Eric Adams, the mayor-elect, is talking about wanting to remove the mask mandate on kids in schools because, among other reasons, they can't make friends. Well, that's something. I mean, it's, I know the bar is low with de Blasio, but following de Blasio, but that's something.
That is something. It does give us a little hope that I'm still not extremely optimistic about Eric Adams, and that's only because I think that his party, the Democrats, don't have the best track record of people running as moderates and then continuing to be moderates once they get into office. Our president being the perfect example of that. It's interesting that while education seems to be the big issue in Virginia, and education and COVID in Virginia and in New Jersey on Tuesday, in New York it was still crime, and all of the rich white liberals who spent 2020 in an orgy of destruction and burning down our cities and rioting and looting suddenly realized that maybe they do want a former cop to be mayor, and so they voted in Eric Adams. Hopefully he does good. We hope he does good, and we hope that he is maybe going to clean up this city. Crime was obviously the big issue for New Yorkers during that election, more than COVID or education. So we'll just have to see what he does. But like I said, I'm not very optimistic that there's anything called a moderate Democrat that actually exists anymore.
Well, right. I mean, despite what happened on Tuesday, as we were talking about in New Jersey and, of course, in Virginia, you still have around the country these COVIDians holding firm, if not moving in holding firm with the mandates that are in place, if not moving forward to go further and be locking down schools again in part.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big problem in 2022 because I think that we learned that I think it was COVID with education that was the huge deal in Virginia. More so, CRT I think played a role, but I think it was more just the threats to lock down schools again, and of course the masking of the children. And parents are really fed up with that. I think that had a bigger impact than the critical race theory stuff. And the clip you played earlier was so shocking to hear the CDC just putting out these lies, this false information, and as you pointed out, never pointing where their data comes from. That's always interesting about masks. We've still not seen a definitive study if these things actually work. But of course, the CDC doesn't want masks to go away. It's the perfect psychological reminder that we're still living in this very scary time, and we need the CDC more than ever now, and we have to keep giving them more power. So, of course, they don't want this to go away, and they don't want people to not still be afraid of one another anymore. The mask is the perfect kind of psychological weapon to just keep reminding people that there's something really scary out there, and we should all be very vigilant.
Yeah, but they're talking out of both sides of their mouths. I mean, we have an emergency order again, I think the 22nd in a row here in Illinois, but the U.S. is opening its borders to vaccinated international travelers today after 20 months of restrictions and opening, transportation between the U.S. and Canada, U.S. and Mexico.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, again, it's hard not to think that this is just there's so much gaslighting going on of the American people with COVID, and that's another example of it. Is you've got all these mandates coming from one side, and another side you have all these different rules being lifted and policies coming. So, what exactly is going on? Is this just these institutions being completely ineffective and stupid, or is this some kind of game that they're playing with people to always keep everyone questioning and on edge and not really know exactly what's happening?
There was some suggestion after Tuesday's elections last week that the Republican Party's value proposition as a party going into the midterm should be we're the parents' party, and maybe that makes sense, and maybe that may be their only choice, because if they're seen as aiding and abetting another $5.5 trillion in funding money spend after what happened on Friday, then they better start talking about COVID and critical race theory rather than fiscal conservatism or economics, because things will not be getting better on the latter front.
Yeah, I do worry that after Tuesday, that the Republican Party might become very complacent, that they've just got 2022 in the bag, and of course that might not be the case, because I think many people felt that in 2020 after seeing what the left was doing all that summer with the rioting and everything else, and even the COVID restrictions. So I think it's important for the Republicans not to become too complacent and think they have it in the bag. And another thing, though, is they need to get on board is with voter integrity and with election integrity. And, there's still questions about, some weird things that were happening in Virginia and New Jersey. So they need to realize, too, that that's an issue. I don't think they can just rely on one messaging of being, the parents' party. But of course, it is a good step forward. I don't think the Democrats are really going to back down. It doesn't seem that they can. They're too deep into it now. I don't think they can do an about face quickly enough to save themselves for next year's midterms.
Well, what kind of allegations of voter fraud is going on in New Jersey, if any?
There was Bergen County, which is not necessarily a super blue county. It seems to me there's a huge vote dump there. That's the main one that I've seen right now. That people are saying tons of votes were coming in very late. I think it was like 40,000 or something. And then of course there's always these strange large Democrat counties that always can't seem to get their votes in on time, like in Fairfax County in Virginia, which is the largest county in the state. For some reason, they just couldn't have their votes counted at the appropriate time. So, of course, you have a lot of people saying, like, well, they needed to see how many votes they needed and whatever. I don't know if any of this stuff is true, but it's always strange that these large Democrat counties can never get their votes in on time, and especially in important elections.
Isn't it? He is Chadwick Moore, columnist, contributing editor of The Spectator. Chadwick, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
With your busy lifestyle, you could use more time. The last thing you want to do is cook every night. It's tedious, and you may not be making the right choices. You need a healthy, tasty, fresh alternative to making your own meals. Temple Fuel is a local meal prep service that offers a menu of flavorful meals. The food is sourced organic whenever possible, and they have low-carb, keto, and power menu options. It's so easy to pre-order online at TempleFuelInc.com for delivery or pickup. The rotating menu is filled with favorites like the Cajun shrimp, mango tilapia, rancho beef, and the lemon cream chicken. Beautiful, delicious meals made just for you. Temple Fuel makes food prep affordable so everyone can eat healthy. Most meals range between $10 to $12.